the United States is so unbelievably lucky to have Elon Musk. It cannot be understated how unbelievably important this individual is to the national security of this country, because without him, we would not have electric vehicles. Without him, we would not have a rocket company that actually can get astronauts to space with an American rocket. And we wouldn't have this forcing function for entrepreneurs and companies to start taking huge risks on big ideas to actually move our country forward. If he didn't exist, that would have been delayed potentially by 10 years to 100 years.
10 to 100 years. You'd still be looking at Facebook and getting excited. Like,
exactly.
Come on. He's really, you said it, Da Vinci, once in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And the Chinese have enormous respect and admiration for him too. Of course they do.
How could you not?
Yeah. Phenomenal.
You know?
Like, think about it. Where do we have the Detroit 3?
Yeah.
Look to? No.
Yeah. We wouldn't even have OpenAI, Michael.
Oh,
that's the crazy
AI,
thing, right?
We wouldn't have OpenAI. We wouldn't have we haven't talked about Starlink.
Starlink, SpaceX. Just OpenAI was. Oh my God. Okay, I need to get off of this topic.
He's more American than the American dream.
Yeah, I had Steve Jurvetson on, who's a long time. He's one of the greatest VCs out there. He's one of the earliest investor in like Elon companies, and he very unapologetically says that like Elon is the best example of the American dream. Like there's no better example of the American dream than Elon Musk. It's like immigrant comes here and it completely transforms the nation. And for the life of me, like, is he perfect? Obviously not. He's got flaws just like anybody else. Sometimes a little bit more flaws than other people. But okay. But what do you get on the other side? National security. He might say some crazy shit sometimes. Okay, great. But guess what? Like we actually have a chance. He's given us a chance to actually succeed here.
With Elon on our side.
It's crazy. Oh man.
One more point about Elon. Just one of the things I find really refreshing, and it's nothing that you haven't heard before, but the so-called his reference to first principles. So in the auto industry, for all my life, companies have been spending tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars to research consumer preferences, focus groups, quantitative, qualitative, all kinds of data. And I remember going to Tesla, this is probably 2017, and meeting his guy in charge of China at the time. I go, well, you're going into China. What do you know about the Chinese consumer? What would you like to know? And the guy said, nothing. Nothing. There's a billion potential customers over there. I just live there. I speak the language. I can tell you we don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need to do the research.
Yeah.
Wow. And
cool
they don't. They step into China and their cars just start taking off. It's really refreshing. Now, if you're a consumer, if you're a researcher, you'd say, well, but he's missing this. No, I just like that he challenged. Do we need this? Do we need this part? Yeah. Do we need this research? Or can we do without it? Yeah.
Very Steve Jobs. Yeah. I mean, it's like, Steve Jobs, he's a Steve Jobs, Rockefeller, I don't know, just so many different people mesh, like Da Vinci. He's like just a multi expert across. He's an elite 1%, top 1% across multiple facets. And then the way he can distill a very complex thing into a very easily communicated thing that most people understand. Yeah. That's what his superpower, because then he can get buy-in from the public to actually like channels like this one exist, because it's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. And it's pretty freaking awesome. And then here's how it's happening. And then getting into the details of how it's actually playing out. What does it mean long term? What does it mean short term? What are the potential repercussions? What are the potential benefits, right? Like, what are the potential pitfalls? It makes it such an interesting conversation. Interesting conversation.
He's right there with us front and center. This is another kind of culture shock I experienced, and maybe you can relate to this too, is having lived in Asia, someone of his stature would be completely inaccessible.
Really?
Like behind several, especially in China, like you never really meet the mayor of Shanghai or the Xi Jinping. He's got so many layers between him, like godlike, and you don't just actually ever see them and Elon's right there with us daily. telling us what he thinks. That was really refreshing too. He's not hiding behind his titles and his accomplishments. He's still out there.
Definitely. He's literally shit posting on X every day.
Every day.
That dude's either on the toilet all day or he has a massive addiction to the platform. And probably something tells me those two overlap quite a bit.
Yeah, right. When does he find the time to go to the? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like that's one of those things. Like once you realize how busy his day is, like literally the only time he's probably on X is when he's sitting on the toilet.
Can I ask you a question about that time management?
Course.
Like I read that he does 5-minute.
No, he doesn't. No, he does focus work for an entire day, basically. So he does one day is Tesla day, and one day SpaceX day, one day, and then I just think his thing, you know, he's neuroatypical. You know, he's on the spectrum. So I think one of the superpowers he has, and as being on the spectrum is that he's able to hyper focus on things that he really finds interesting, and he's like, it's obvious that the things he's working on he's passionate about, right? And he sees them, each individual piece, as part of a very important piece of building a multiplanetary species and getting us to Mars and building a self-sustaining colony. If you really think about all his different companies, they are all a piece of doing that. And so everything he's working on has massive purpose. All his company's goals have a existential, humanity scale mission statement that is completely and utterly undeniable. And he believes it to his core. And so that makes it very easy for him. This is my what I think, why he's able to do what he can, is that every time he wakes up, there is an anxiety in his body that says, if I don't get this done today, we're going to be delayed by one day to make the human species self-sustaining on Mars. And every day that passes is a day where a meteor could hit us. We could have a civilizational event that's going to wipe us out. Every single day, I think he just feels that anxiety, and that's what powers him to push through ridiculous tasks. That, to me, sounds like a terrible life, honestly. But, mentally, physically, health-wise. But if he can find happiness in doing that, he can find purpose in doing that.
I think it's a purpose, right? He has a super purpose.
He's very in tune with what makes him truly feel like he's doing something good. And I think that's what powers him every day. And I think it's less about time management, honestly. And I think it's more about, he's one of the very few individuals that's a marriage of having purpose, having ultimate purpose, and having the brain to be able to execute against the goals he has set for himself. And that's what makes him so special. Because those two things are rare, but when you combine those two things, and I mean, people like Jensen Huang are not too dissimilar. Your Steve Jobses, even your Mark Zuckerbergs, like these guys that obviously operate at a different level. I think it's the marriage of like those things, but then Elon is like a top 1%er in those two. Like he understands true purpose, and he has the IQ and the capability to execute against that purpose. And in my opinion, I think that's what makes him powerful.
Jensen, I saw him give a talk recently, and he said, a lot of people ask me, should they start a company? And he said, don't do it. Don't do it. unless you're absolutely positively sure you want it. It's so much stress, so much uncertainty, so much anxiety, so many sleepless nights, that you got to know that you want it. And so with Jensen and with Elon, they see something and they want to go after it. But he said for most people, he would recommend maybe just something else. Arzed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, but that's the insight. You probably have to go if I were to guess, right? I'm probably holding you for too long. Real quick, that insight really says everything about it, because I would tell people start a business. But the way he starts businesses, it's like go all in or die. I'm like, okay, you're crazy. So it is what it is.